Hello, welcome back to Cooking with Chef Dharma. I am here with my cousin, the main man, Vikram. Vikram and I, on our last day in New Jersey, we got together and we made a green masala shrimp biryani as a thank you to Auntie Loretta for making us this really nice chicken turfur we had. Champ,
What are we talking about?
we're going to make biryani. Shrimp biryani, green masala.
Shrimp biryani.
Shrimp
With
biryani.
green masala.
Green masala. Let's get started. You are going to be my sous chef.
Wonderful.
Let's do it. Let's cook for Auntie Loretta. Let's do a special lunch today. So the two of us made it, and what we're going to do in today's episode is go over those steps as we recreated and captured the moment where we were cooking shrimp biryani for Auntie Loretta. There are several steps in making the biryani, and they go, and there is basically the marination of the shrimp, that's the frying of the onions and the potatoes, then the preparation of the rice, preparation and the cooking of the biryani masala, the layering process, and then finally the cooking process.
Okay.
And each stage, when broken down, once you accomplish these tasks, you're one step closer to the goal of understanding the biryani process. So let's start. The first part is the marination of the shrimp. Okay.
Looks nice.
Yeah. Okay. First part, marination of the shrimp. What we basically did was just the masalas from Auntie Loretta's
That's right.
dabba.
That's
We
right.
just took her dabba,
Whatever you could find.
whatever we could find, and that basically worked out to salt, turmeric, coriander powder, cumin powder, red chili powder. Standard basic stuff. That was the marinade. And this was done just about 1 hour before I knew that the shrimp was going to go in the curry. So that's basically the marinade of the shrimp. Okay. The next part is the frying of the onions. There are some key steps to keep in mind when frying these onions. So let's go through the process. So the first thing we start is taking a rather wide pan so the onions can spread, and we start with the oil.
Oh, that's a lot of oil though.
It is a lot of oil, but it is what's required to get a good fry.
I see.
Here's the thing, this oil which we will use to fry the onions will be the same oil that we will also fry other ingredients and cook the biryani masala in. It's going to make a lot of volume. So even though it looks a lot, there's be a lot of volume in this dish. So when you add in your sliced onions, start with high heat, bring it down to medium heat when the onions start to condense. You want the high heat so the moisture evaporates first quickly.
Oh, is that what that does?
Then you turn it down to medium heat, and then you kind of let it go. And you want to be careful with it because onion, what's happening, what's getting the browning in onions is the sugar. Right? So if you've ever made caramel,
We didn't add any sugar though.
we didn't add any, but onions have natural sugar.
Oh.
So as you're cooking it, you're caramelizing those sugars in those onions. Just like you make caramel, and as you cook it, first the process of caramel takes time, but suddenly as it starts getting golden brown, the movement from golden brown to black is like very fast. You've got to be really careful with that when you're making caramel. The same process applies in the onions. So you always want to pull out the onions while it's still kind of in the golden brown area. The next step after that is frying the potatoes. You want to fry the potatoes, and here's the reasoning behind it. The shrimp's gonna cook very quickly. We don't want to spend too much time overcooking the shrimp. But if you were not going to fry the potatoes, then you would definitely want to add the potatoes a lot before the shrimp goes in for cooking, so that the potatoes take time to cook, and
That's
only
right.
when the potatoes are tender should you add the shrimp. And we'll get to that in the masala later. Highly recommend fry the potatoes. You got the oil there.
Yeah.
May as well,
It's
right?
the same oil you're saying.
Seriously. Here's also the other thing. I kind of like fried potatoes, and I'm just gonna fry it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah,
There's no rules really in biryani. You add what you like.
true. So now we get to the stage of the rice. You have to wash and soak the rice. 30 minutes is good.
So just let it sit in the clean water.
Just let it sit in clean water. The key elements when making the rice for biryani is you have to make sure that you bring your water to a boil, you salt it very well, and I would recommend even tasting the water. Taste the water to make sure that it really tastes salty, because if your rice is not salty, the water is not salty, the rice will not have the flavor.
Oh. Alternatively, you were making the shrimp feel right at home because they come from the sea. It's possible.
added a little bit of cumin seeds into that just to give flavor. Usually with other biryanis, you go kind of slightly more complex. Like they would add whole garam masala and stuff. I just wanted to keep it simple.
Keeping it
Just with cumin. As soon as the rice goes into the water, the temperature is going to go down, the boiling is going to stop. You wait for it to come back to a boil. As the water comes to a boil, that's when you set the time. 4 minutes.
Oh, after it comes to a boil.
Exactly, because now you have hit your constant, right?
Mm.
Your constant is 212 Fahrenheit, 100 degrees. Now, at 100 degrees, you want to keep boiling for 4 minutes.
Mm.
At 4 minutes, take it out and drain it completely.
Oh, I see.
Immediately, like drain it.
So this is not fully cooked at this point.
Absolutely not. You don't want to cook the rice completely.
Uh-huh.
Because it's going to be cooked again when you layer it. Remember, we layer the rice over the shrimp, right?
Mm.
So in that process, the rice is going to be further cooked.
I see.
4 minutes, take it out, drain it, leave it uncovered.
Uncovered.
Leave it uncovered because you want that steam to escape. You want the rice to cool down. Because by drying up the rice, like we'd have to just let it open and just fluff it up a little.
Yeah.
But even if you leave it, the drier it gets, the more of the gravy it will absorb when it is in the layering process.
Okay.
Let's talk about the choice of rice. And the choice of rice.
I mean, choice of rice. Rice is rice, isn't it? For us, rice was just white. End of story.
Okay. But well, good point. Growing up, we had there would be a go-to rice, which is your daily rice. It's not the expensive rice. Basmati is that expensive long grain rice, and which is what is usually used in biryani.
Oh, so this is not basmati.
This is not basmati. It was a Sona Masuri rice. It's a short grain rice, and I use that short grain rice because it kind of this is for the flavors. I thought it would be nice to have that biryani rice absorb the sauces.
Ready for the next step.
And now we're ready for the next step. Before we make a biryani masala, we have to make a really good green chutney. You start your green masala with your green chilies, either your serranos, your jalapenos, your Thai peppers if you want it really spicy. Jalapenos and serranos will keep it sort of in the medium spicy range. Garlic and ginger. These three is what you start with a little bit of water, and you want to churn it first because these are the bulky items, but you want to give it room and space to turn down into a liquid before you add the greens.
I see, okay.
So in this case, the greens we are adding are the coriander leaves, cilantro, and curry leaves. Now that the green chutney is done, the next thing we can move to is the biryani masala. Step 1 of any masala starts with the tempering. Okay? So step 1 starts with the tempering.
What do you mean? Are they angry or something?
Nah, dude, you gotta get your oil hot because you're gonna flavor this oil. It's very important to get your heat high, and when your spices go in. This process is important because this is going to flavor the oil for everything else that comes in. And this oil is going to be flavored, in this case, with South Indian spices. Mustard seeds, cumin seeds, red chili, and curry leaves.
So this is a South Indian biryani?
These are South Indian spices. The use of the curry leaves, the mustard seed, where the mustard seed is the dominant flavor. It tends to be more on the South Indian.
I see.
Okay, oil hot, spices go in, oil is perfumed, then the chutney goes in.
Perfume.
Chutney goes in, and then you start cooking it. You have to give it time to cook down.
All of this is medium heat, as you said.
This is, I keep solid medium. It takes a little bit of stirring, it takes a little bit of kind of patience, but you really want to cook it, give it its time, because this is where flavors are developed. You don't want to rush this process.
Okay.
You have to cook the paste. There is a certain rawness that exists in the ginger and the garlic that needs to be cooked out.
Okay.
You will see mass would have been reduced and there will be a lot of oil around. That's when you know you've done a good job in cooking out most of the moisture.
So you have to constantly attend to it, stir it.
At this particular stage, yes. At this stage, you've got to keep eyes on the price. Now your spices go in. Turmeric powder, coriander powder, cumin powder, but I added black pepper powder just to give it a different kind of taste. I went with black pepper Because I just feel black pepper is sort of like more reminiscent of the South. You know, the best black pepper comes from Malabar in Kerala.
Kerala, I didn't know that.
Malabar and Tellicherry, they're some of the best black pepper. And again, when the spice powder is going, there is a certain raw flavor that will come out at that point. You want to cook that down, you want to cook that, you want to cook, they will smell kind of harsh.
Mm-hmm.
And as you cook them down, it basically starts to soften. And you have to go with your nose on that one.
Mm-hmm.
That harshness is to go in, it's got to start smelling flavor. That's when you know you've given it time. You've given it time and it is actually cooked properly. Then you move to that next stage. We're going to deglaze that pan with our sour ingredient.
Deglaze, but we didn't glaze it with anything.
With the deglaze is the you're such a cartoon here. So the yogurt deglazes the pan and it dislodges the stuck particles, and that process is what we call bhuna. That's the building of flavor. After the yogurt was added and the pan was deglazed, then the tomatoes went. But you notice the tomato is not cut very fine, it's actually cut very thick.
Thickly diced.
It's thickly diced. We put the tomatoes in large and we don't cook them down too much because I wanted to see the tomato reflected in the air.
You didn't want a paste.
I didn't want it to be a paste. I wanted to see bits of tomato. I didn't fry it down, I didn't smash it down too much. Just kind of let it kind of sweat a little bit in the masala, get some of the flavor. If I wanted it to incorporate, I would have cut it very fine and incorporate it, but it would have changed the color of the masala. And then the coconut milk went. Now we are starting to change the consistency and build that.
This
The coconut
is like a sweet coconut milk or a non-sweet one?
You want to go with as unsweetened as possible.
Unsweet.
As definitely unsweetened as possible. Now is when we add, after the coconut milk goes in, this is when we add the banana.
Oh.
You don't want to add all of it
Uh-huh.
because you want to save some for the layering process.
To the top.
Because it looks kind of nice to have onions on the top.
Mm.
And it's that part of the process.
Yeah.
The onions are already cooked, so it breaks down and it starts to give body and thickness and flavor at the same time. And just like that, the biryani masala is ready.
That's looking delicious on its own.
Now it started to thicken, it started to get character. Now the shrimp goes in. But you want to be cognizant of the fact. You want to be cognizant that you're not going to cook your shrimp too much. The shrimp overcooks very easily. So you just want to add, and you know you're going to cook more. You're going to cook it further when you layer the rice and you do the dum process, the steaming process.
How long is too much?
The amount of time that the shrimp is cooked is probably not more than 5 minutes.
On medium always.
On medium, you want to see like the shrimp changing its texture from like the translucent texture to a more opaque texture, and that's basically good.
So bottom line, opacity in the shrimp. Opacity. Good for shrimp, bad for tax audits.
Bad for what?
For tax audits, you don't want opaque books. Everything needs to be transparent. You know, people might have different contexts.
It's like only you can bring bloody tax into.
There might be a tax accountant watching this, and this means they really get it.
Then you add in your potatoes, and then you mix in, cook it for just a little more for the potatoes to kind of just be coated in the masala, right? And then you start the layering process. Yes, we just kind of layered the rice over the shrimp.
Mhm.
It was also a very small amount. It was only for the 3 of us.
Mm.
Right? So it's a small amount. It was doing 1 pound of shrimp. It's not a whole lot. But a good practice would have been to take out the curry, add some rice on the bottom,
Oh, I see.
then you add your, you'll kind of add in your shrimp, then add more rice and add your shrimp and add rice on top. You get more of a layered biryani and flavors kind of
Oh, I see.
go through pretty well. And that's one good way of doing it if you want to do it. But we did not. We just took the masala, we added the rice on top because it was a small amount. So what are you going to layer in such a small amount? But what is really, really important in the layering process is as you layer, you have the flavors. In this case, we went very simple. We only went with cilantro and we only went with the brown onions. But you could go even more complicated. You could go with fried chilies. You could go with fried curry leaves, whatever. We kept it simple. But whatever you layer in this process is sometimes use what you have or go with your imagination. Right?
Now the rice is mixed in or layered.
Layer. Curries at the bottom. And now you have to give it that dum process. The process of dum really means cooked in steam. The steam has to accumulate and it has to cook the rice. If you open it, flavor goes away. That's why masters will cover the pot with sometimes dough just to make sure it remains sealed shut.
Oh.
No steam can escape.
So bottom line, dum ensures slow cooking and no steam. It has nothing to do with a lack of education.
You mean dumb as in dumb, huh?
The
Vikram, I highly recommend not giving up your day job for a career in comedy. Seriously. A good way to make sure that you don't burn your rice is this: you let the masala first come to a boil. You want to bring it to a bubble. When you hear the bubble, that's when you move it down to low. And to also prevent the sticking, you can even use a cast iron pan sometimes. It prevents that scorching. You take it high for the first few minutes so you can hear the bubbling. You want to hear the masala come to a bubble, and then you take it on very low and just leave it as is. Covered. You leave it on flame, and you leave it roughly. I would say we left it for about 10 to 15 minutes. And the indicator that I would use is I would keep my hand on the top of the lid, and when I know that I could not touch it anymore, that's when I know it was done, because the steam had risen to the top. If you touch the top and it doesn't feel hot, that means the steam. You can feel the heat on the sides, but the heat has not yet hit the top. Okay, so that is important. And at that point, afterwards, which is the most important part, is you have to let that biryani rest. And you have to let the biryani rest because everything in the cook process, even though it's on low heat, all the moisture that's in all the components of the food are at close to that boiling point. They're trying to push their way out. There's a lot of moisture in around because it's in the form of steam.
Probably good labor law too.
Label?
Labor law, because the biryani has been doing so much work, so it needs some time to rest. Probably a law, break time. Just thinking maybe they might have a union you don't know.
Yeah, whack you with a bloody
That might be against labor laws as well.
You want to give it time to kind of settle and settle back in. You do not ever want to turn off the heat and say, let's open biryani and let's eat. There has to be a little bit of patience with doing this.
Very difficult.
Have to let the steam come back together. You have to let it kind of settle down. Bring it down to like sort of, how do I say? You want to give it at least a good 15 to even 30 minutes of rest.
Ooh, it's a long time of waiting, I can tell you that.
It is a long time of waiting.
Especially when you're smelling the aromas and you know it's done.
Yeah, but then that's why beer, afternoon drinking, and papad snacks are invented, no?
That's true.
So if you keep snacking and drinking and getting nice and toasted,
This is ruin your appetite then.
Are you
That's what we were told. Didn't work on me, I always had an appetite.
seriously? And all our uncles are nicely, happily drinking over there, and we're waiting over there, we're hungry. They're like, no, biryani has to rest, let's drink out. Now it's our turn. But anyhow. And basically that's the process of the biryani.
That's it, it's done?
It's done. You crack it open after 30 minutes and you see after 30 minutes of resting, even there's so much steam coming out of it.
This one.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
The aroma is fantastic.
It sat there for 30 minutes, but it was like, it was steaming, it was nice, the flavors had all melded together. We mixed it and served. Best things to go with biryani. Simple tomato raita.
What's raita?
Raita, yeah. Raita.
Everyone may not know.
That's also true. Raita. Yogurt relish made with fresh ingredients, usually tomato, onions, cilantro, green chilies, your choice. What we did was just a very simple yogurt with green chili, tomato, chopped leftover cilantro, and lime. And that was it. quickly mixed together. It's like a nice cooling relish that goes with the heat and the complex flavor.
All uncooked, right?
Raita is completely uncooked and it is served chilled. And on the other side, on the side to that, a little bit of papad. Crispy papad, raita, shrimp, green masala, biryani. Like that was a happy afternoon.
And if you don't have papads, just use potato chips.
He actually does have a point.
Anything crisp, you just want a crunch to go with that. It just works.
I honestly can't argue with that logic. I seriously can't. I know it may sound really weird, but potato chips, especially salt and vinegar potato chips. Nice. And that's it. That's how we made our green masala shrimp biryani. It was our tribute, our way to say thank you to Auntie Loretta for helping us, for teaching us and making chicken turfur. If you haven't seen that video, you can find it right. You can find the link over here. Do go and check it out. And if you like what we're doing, if you like this, I would love to hear from you. So please give me your comments. I would love it if you would take the time to write what you think about it. And if you think my doofus cousin should continue being on this program and that we should share the stage, please give me your comments so that we can probably get him to stay. Let me know your comments. Would love to know if you'd like to see Vikram join this program. It'd be lovely to have this banter going on. Please do subscribe. Please do like this video. If you liked it, pass it on to your friends. This has been Cooking with Chef Dana. We'll see you in the next video. Do you have anything to say to the audience?
When it comes to shrimp biryani, the trick is getting first in line because you want all the shrimp for yourself.
Smart guy. Smart dude. I mean, we give him a big family, yo. I still love those uncles that stayed around right till the end, like, because they're having their rum and coke, or they're having their daru. They come like, where's the shrimp man? Where's shrimp man? Who ate all the bloody shrimp man? What man? What man? What is this man? Who ate all the shrimp man? Come on man.
You drink, you lose.
Seriously. Where's my shrimp man? Oh, bugger.
Eat my belly.